Last video I was talking about close guard in general, and I mentioned about that my comment was limited to knowing about the example that I was giving, but I didn't elaborate. So when I create this video, talk about different types of knowing. When we know something, what are the different ways of knowing the thing we know? It helps us to make sense of the world. It helps us to structure the way we learn. It helps us to grow. These ideas, I learned them from John Vervaeke in the conversations I had with him, and it's one way of approaching it, knowing. When we know about something, we know about something, and this about, first of all, let's go. In this approach, there are four different types of knowing. Each type of knowing, it covers a different way you know something. They are complementary. They complement each other. Okay. 4 types. When you know something, one way is to know about this thing. You can know if the thing is true or false, facts, theories, abstractions. This is the realm of ideas, the realm of propositions. And this is called propositional knowing. This is one way. You know about things, then you have your beliefs about these things. You know that the thing can be true or false. You can know the theories about the same things. Propositional knowing. Another type of knowing is procedural knowing. It's knowing how to do things. You have a skill. You know how to do this specific thing, how to build something, for instance. You know how. This is procedural knowing. The procedural knowing how is action. If you think about it, the propositional knowing is the theoretical knowing about something, and the procedural knowing is how to do this thing. From the same subject, the same topic, you can know the theory and the practice. Or maybe you only know the theory, but you don't know the practice. You don't have the skill. You can write a book about the subject, but you don't necessarily know how to do the thing. Okay. And there are the 2 types of knowing. The next one, perspectival knowing. The perspectival knowing is in relation to how to perceive the world, how much we are aware of things, aware of others, aware of our environment, and aware of ourselves as well. Perspective. You can have different perspective. You can put yourself in other people's shoes. You can perceive same thing, the same information from different points of view. Perspectival knowing. I know something not only from my perspective, but I also know from other people's perspective as well. I'm aware of my perspective. I'm aware of this thing from other people's perspective as well. Perspectival knowing. And the fourth type of knowing, participatory knowing. It's about our interaction with others, interaction with our environment. It's about our capacity to anticipate, our capacity as agent on arena, as myself interacting with the environment. It's my capacity to work on the environment, to change the environment, but at the same time the environment is changing me as well. It's like dancing, for instance, where when you dance with someone, both of the partners, they are influencing and changing each other, and the person is acting and reacting, and not only that, they are also interacting and changing their environment. If you think about a group of people dancing together, they are participating between themselves and in the environment, and the environment is always changing. So is the dynamic connection, the dynamic interaction between people, between the person, the agent, and its environment. I hope that's clear. Now, how can we use it for what we do for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and why I find it important and an important tool for me? When you think about the technique, I was talking about guard. Guard. What is a guard? That's what this video was about. What is a guard? And we try to find a definition for a guard. Let's talk about open guard, a specific open guard, a spider guard, closed guard. Everyone knows, or everyone should know, closed guard. I can talk to you about closed guard. I can explain in details about what the closed guard is. I can describe the attacks and defenses within the closed guard. I can write to you a book, a paper, an article about the closed guard systems, attacks and defenses, submissions and sweeps, and I can be extremely detailed about how to do each movement, each technique at the point that I can describe exactly the direction of the hand that should go, the position and the angle of the body, the direction of the movement, and so on. but I do not have to demonstrate to you how to do it. Understand? I can talk about it. This is propositional knowing. I know about the close guard. I know about the close guard in great detail, and I can write an article about it. I can write a paper about it. This is my propositional knowledge about close guard. But then I need to demonstrate this close guard to you. So now, after talking to you and writing a paper and writing about the systems, the close guard and how it works and the directions and angles and everything, I get to demonstrate the close guard. I show you how to do it. I show you, even without any words or anything, I can show you how my body is positioned. I can show you where to put my hands on, the grips I have to take, the angle my body should take, the direction that my body is going to move. I can show you how. This is my skill level. No? I can even not say anything and just demonstrate the technique, and you can understand it without any use of words. You see? I know how to move, I know how to show. I know the technique. My body knows the movement. It is procedural knowing. Okay? And they complement each other. Now, is it necessary for me to know about, or is it enough for me just to know how? No? It depends. In my case, yes, I need to know about and how. But it depends on the person's goals as well. Some people will be very happy only knowing how to do something. And the person is not really concerned in knowing about. Even though if you know how, at a certain extent, you would be able to explain talk to someone about it. And do your best to use the language in a way that the other person can understand. Or you want to demonstrate this thing to close guard to another person, and you are going to explain as well. Okay, put my hand here, then my hand goes here, and you're basically describing what you're doing. So you know how and you know about. Okay. But myself, I can demonstrate the technique. I can show you how to do it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I am able to apply the technique, to satisfactorily apply the technique under pressure. Under pressure, when I mean with a resisting training partner. Okay. My skill level can be limited only to being able to demonstrate, being able to do the movement with a non-resisting training partner. but I wouldn't be necessarily able to perform, not only demonstrate, but to actually perform the technique under pressure or with a resisting person. So there are also levels, different levels of skill. So you can perform the technique in a person with less experience than you. You can perform the technique, apply the technique in a person with the same skill level. And when there's a disparity of skill level, it may, or a disparity of size, or a disparity of weight, on different body types, so it can be more difficult to apply this technique. So we have covered two types of knowing. I know about it, I know how. But then we have to be able to actually apply the technique under pressure, and it's where the participatory knowing comes about. Okay. Because when we are sparring, the environment, the arena, the environment is unpredictable. I'm acting and I am reacting. The person has his or her goals. I have my goals as well, my objectives. I'm trying to do things on this person, and this person is trying to do things on me, and not only that, but you are in a place, we are in a training room, and there are other people around us. So participatory knowing is the interaction between myself and another person, myself being the agent, the other person the arena, and the same way I'm the arena for this agent. No? And this is an ever-changing, is a dynamic environment where second after second, where the environment is changing each second, each moment, each instant. So I have to be able to know how to apply the technique in a changing environment as well. Let me just measure this. I have to mark it. So this is the type of knowledge, the participatory knowledge. We both are participating in this activity, and I know how to interact with this person, to work on my techniques, to anticipate what is going to happen, and to adapt my movements, to adapt even my strategies, to adapt my energy levels in order to be able to deal with the situation, in order to be able to execute, to apply my techniques, and to achieve my objectives. And then, what are the objectives of Jiu Jitsu? Control, progression, and persuading the other person to ask us to stop. Okay, so this is the participatory. No. So we have three. I know about close guard. I know how to demonstrate the close guard. And I know how to work on my close guard in a dynamic environment, and to adapt my strategy, my energy levels according to the requirements of this changing interaction I have with my training partner. Again, I may be able to know about, I may be able to know how, and not necessarily know to participate, because then you need, there are different types of practices. No, the practices there, in order to work in these three types of knowings you were talking about. If you want to break it down before going to the fourth type of knowing, if you think about it, this is one way. When I'm teaching Jiu Jitsu, the lesson is structured in a way that we actually work on different types of knowing. So the person practicing has the experience of practice the same skill in different settings, and overall they will be able to learn how to apply the technique. They will learn how to talk about it. They will learn how to demonstrate it. Think about drills. No, people like to do drills. Think about doing drills and sparring. I'm doing drills, you have a technique with a non-resisting partner, and then you're gonna do 10 repetitions, 100 repetitions of the same technique, and you have these skills. You can even demonstrate, you can even show this technique to another person. We can call it the procedural knowing, and then you learn details about this technique, why the body has to be in a certain angle, close guard, a certain angle, how do you position your spine, and you can explain it. You can actually talk about it and point to it. So you have your positional knowing as well. So you have, and then you have the sparring, and someone ends up in your close guard, or you end up on someone's close guard, and you know how to get out of the close guard under pressure. In sparring, and you actually know how to, which is skill, is a level of skill, it's just a level of procedural knowledge, but you also know how to, if someone is on your close guard, you also know how to change the type of game, the type of system you are using, depending on how the other person will react. So this, and you can feel, you can anticipate what's going to happen, and you can predict the direction that this interaction is likely to take. It is your participatory knowing. It's experience. I have experience doing so. And you are able to predict, and you are able to anticipate, and you are able to adapt. Now the last one, perspectival knowing, is the way we perceive things, is the way we perceive the world, is the way we perceive others. It is my capacity of being aware of myself, seeing things from my perspective, and it's my capacity to put myself in other people's shoes as well, to see things from other people's perspective. What happened here in our example is that same close guard. Okay. I can talk about the close guard. I can demonstrate the close guard to you. I can inspire doing close guard. And I can adapt my game. But then there is something else. I can put myself on the other person's shoes and see the whole agent arena relationship from his perspective. Not only from my perspective, but I have to be, first of all, I have to be present enough to see things from my own perspective. So remember about the four mental attributes that we spoke about that help us to Jiu-Jitsu, which one of them is a quiet mind. And a quiet mind helps you to not be thinking about anything else. It will help you to be present. And then the number 4 is awareness. My capacity to be aware. So for that I need a quiet mind. And the awareness, my capacity of awareness, of having a quiet mind, will help me to have, develop, to practice my perspective, to be able to see things from my perspective, first of all, and also from the other person's perspective. Why from my perspective? If I don't have a quiet mind, if I'm not aware of my body, not aware of my movements, if I'm just reactive, I'm just, not controlling my energy levels, not controlling my emotions, and I end up in a situation, in an emotional state that is not ideal. We're talking about the sparring. So I end up not focused, I end up not present, I end up not dancing with my training partner, let's call it dancing, interacting, this dynamic interaction, connection with my training partner. We have to be connected. Jiu-Jitsu is connection. It's not only physical connection, but there's a type of emotional connection as well, because I have to be connected to his intention. What's his energy levels? I have to match his, with what type of energy level I will have to match with his or her energy level. So if I can do these things, if I can be quiet, have a quiet mind, not be quiet mind and be aware, I will be able to, calm down, say things from my own perspective. Okay, what's going on? Okay, close guard, end up in close guard. Okay, cool. So now, participatory. What's going on? Person doing, acting, reacting, and then things from the other person's perspective. From the other person's perspective, what is going on here? I know what's going on from my perspective. I can see the doors opening and closing to me from my own perspective. But then, how about this person's perspective? What am I giving to him? What doors I'm opening here to him that I'm not aware of because I'm stuck on my own perspective? Okay. And then, you look at yourself, you look at the situation not only as you, but as the other. not only this, in terms of safety as well. Safe training. You are training in a place that there are lots of people. You have to be aware of not only where your body is moving, but aware about where the other bodies are, other people, because there are other people around. So sometimes you have to take the other person's perspective. In the corner of your eye, you see someone. So, okay, should I move? Shouldn't I move? Should I ask the person to move? There are lots of things. Or should we stop and go somewhere else because it's not safe? So it affects as well the whole safety of the training. Just to finish, let's have some finishing thoughts. We know about things. We know how to do things. We can adapt when we are doing things under pressure. And we can put ourselves in other people's shoes. And we are aware not only about ourselves, about our movements, our intentions, but also about other people's movements, intentions, dynamics, intentions, and also aware about the environment